So at the end of 2016, we flew here to Bali, and after just a couple days of us being here, we kind of stumbled onto a crazy idea, which was we should start a business here.
So you went from this like high energy, very electric, right, phase
Yeah.
in your life, and then you said you wanted something more mellow. Is that when Bali came into place?
No, there was a few years in between there where I was traveling a bit, where I would save up my money for like a year and then take off and travel for like 6 months at a time. Yeah, and that's when I first came to Bali. In that time, I went a few other places, and that's when I was just doing these long trips. Then I'd come back, work a bunch, and then do it again. And my family was like, "Dude, you just went like wait." And I was like, "I know, but like, there's so much more to see." And so I did that several times. When I came here the second time is when things kind of started bubbling up of like, wow, maybe I can do something to where I don't have to go back home and work and save up. Maybe I could just start my own business here. Maybe I can do something like that here. And that's kind of where the idea started brewing. And that one just happened super quick.
All
So
right, so you came here for the first time,
mm, 2014 was the first time I came
2014.
here. Yeah.
So you must have fallen like deeply in love.
Oh, head over heels.
Tell me, like what happened in your body, or what were you seeing? What were you experiencing?
Oh man, it was at the end of a trip that I was doing in Southeast Asia, Thailand, Cambodia, Vietnam, and my friend kept telling me like, dude, go to Bali. Trust me, you got to go there, because he had gone like 2 years before, and I was like, if I can fit it in, if I have enough money, I don't know, I'm running out. He's like, trust me, just go there, whatever you do. It's like, okay, all right. So I fit it into my plan to spend the last like 3 weeks of my trip here. And I flew in, and I was immediately like, wow, this is the spot. This place is amazing. It's like, it reminds me a little bit of Southern California where I grew up, where it's that kind of surf culture and beach, near the beach. So it had that element to it, but it was this whole twist of tropical, you know, amazing. I don't know. There's something about it that is so mystifying, with the offerings they put out every morning, the incense, and where you're walking, there's so many of your senses are like being grabbed, the
Yes.
temples, and it's really stunning here. So that, like me and like many other people, that grabs you. And so that, I knew it was a special place. It was going to be a special place in my life. I didn't know how special, but I knew I would come back. At the time I was 25. And so I was getting from my family, like, okay, dude, like, you're 25. What are you going to do? You're going to just keep traveling your whole life? Or, so I kind of came to a point where I was like, all right, I had a good job. So I was working, and I was like, you know what, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to save up. I'm going to stop traveling for a while. I'm just going to save up, and I'm going to, for a down payment on a house, maybe take me a couple years. I'm just going to save up, save up, save up. Before I do that, we're doing one more, one last one.
Right.
So
When was this?
this was in the end of 2016. So 2 years
Mm.
after, from when I came to Bali the first time, I took almost like a 2 year break, and I was just saving money.
Wow.
And I had gotten close to a down payment, pretty close to what I would consider for a down payment for a house. And I decided, all right, I'm going to take 6 months. I'm just going to travel around. And I was going to do South America at that time. And my buddy Derek, who has also a really incredible personal life story, but he was like, dude, well, I'm going to go on this trip too, but I'm going to do the world. I'm going to go around the world. And I was like, that's great. So he was like, why don't we start together, and we'll just travel for like 2-3 months together, and then I'll go my way, you go your way. So I was like, sounds great. And he's like, well, where do you want to start? And I was like, well, I'm going to Costa Rica to start, but have you ever been to Bali? And he was like, no, but I heard good things. So I was like, well, let's just go there first, and then I'll figure out a way to get to South America somehow. So at the end of 2016, we flew here to Bali, and after just a couple of days of us being here, we kind of stumbled onto a crazy idea, which was we should start a business here. I have a little bit of money, you have a little bit of money, and we can take a lease out on a little shop front and start a business. But we're like, how do we do this? Like, what's then we got to go like get a lawyer. Do we have to like get a lease made? We have to do this, that. We were really fortunate at the time. A really good buddy of ours named Cody owned a successful business here already, the Farm Hostel. And we became good mates with him. And he was just like, look, this is how I did this. This is who I use for my legal stuff. This is how I get my suppliers, this, that. And we're like, wow, this guy just gave us a silver platter of like a roadmap. Like a couple of days later, we took a 10-year lease on a little shop front and we started building. And I was like, all right, well, I guess I'm not going to buy a house for a little while. I'm just going to build a restaurant. And I used that money for this. And I didn't tell my parents for a while, probably like 6 months, until it was like almost fully built. I knew they were going to be shocked. They were both like, sweet, that's awesome. Like, good for you. Cool. So it worked out pretty good. But yeah, it was definitely a fork in the road for your life. And it was like, all right, we going this way? Nah. And never look back.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
How things transpire in that way, right? Like you had planned to do one thing and you were successful at saving money. And just one thing led to another, and all of a sudden you and your friend Derek are business partners and have this amazing cafe and are growing.
We got on in the right time and it just started taking off. And we're like, oh, shoot, like, wow, we didn't expect this, but it's been cool.
So, okay, you're supposed to go on this long trip, this last hurrah.
Mm.
And all of a sudden you find yourself with a business partner and like breaking ground on this new cafe idea that you came up with in just a few days of being here.
Right. So what we did was, and what I used to do at home was design work, and my father owns actually a construction business.
That's
So I'm a project manager. I would do design of stuff. So building the restaurant itself was like, okay, right up my alley. This is what I know how to do. But what we tried to get ambitious, and we were like, okay, sweet. We got the design for the restaurant. We hired a local contractor. We showed him everything we wanted to have done. And while he was building it, we're like, all right, we're going to go to South America for a little bit. We'll be back. Because that was the plan. That was the original plan, that we were like, well, maybe we can do both, have our cake and eat it too, which probably not the best idea, because we're literally in the jungle in Costa Rica with a phone, like trying to stand on rocks to like get service and call our friends like, dude, can you please help us pick up this stove and put it in a storage unit? And like, it was not a good idea, but it was looking back, it was fun. So fun that we did that, but logistically it was a nightmare.
Anything else that stuck out to you about the journey of creating your business here?
Well, certainly, and there's no secret that building a business somewhere like here versus doing it in California, it's a lot cheaper here. So you have the creative freedom to be like, okay, I want to have our tables and chairs specifically be like this. So I'm going to go find the guy that builds them and make a drawing, and then he's going to do it exactly how I want. Right. So like every bit of it is custom in that regard. And if you were to do a complete custom place, it would cost you $1 million at home or more. Right. So to be able to have that facet of life here where people make stuff, people make everything, tables, chairs, everything. Whereas home, most stuff's manufactured in big factories and comes from China or wherever. So that aspect was really cool because it felt like every detail of our shop, we had a hand in it to make it our own, that's really cool part of it for me.
That is cool to be able to express a vision, right?
Right.
That doesn't cost an arm and a leg. That is kind of like less friction and less costly as it would be in California.
Much less, probably 10 times less.
So did you have any reservations throughout the journey of like, as it was being built, were you like, oh shit, are we really doing this?
Oh, every day.
Really?
Oh, for sure. Every day I ask like, what the hell am I doing right now?
Really?
We're building a restaurant. I've only worked in a restaurant like for a summer in my cousin's restaurant in Italy. I was not that good at it. So we dialed it in and we tried to do it to match with just what we like. It's a breakfast restaurant. We do coffee and breakfast, and we close at 3:00, breakfast, lunch. So we try to keep it really simple. but you can see a lot of my and Derek's personality in the place. I think it's
It's,
just kind of, you know,
it's a chill place. And
yeah,
I love the artwork on the wall. I love the vibe, the energy that you guys have created, the openness. Um, yeah, it's just got a really good energy. And the music, it's just a good place to be.
for sure. And I'm
Yeah.
glad that it gives that vibe. That's what we were going for. But the number one out of all those things that I think for me that special is our staff. It
Mm,
has to be for sure. We've gotten so lucky with some amazing staff. We're like a little family there, and they take care of business, man. They're on it. So we've been crazy lucky with them.
that's important.
Yeah, they're just solid. They're just so solid, and I think there's a big um, respect based thing here where we try to treat them with ultimate respect, and you get that in return, which is really nice.
Right. So would you say that that is the the secret, right, to creating an environment that feels like you're connected, that feels like your family, like you have each other's back, is respect.
100%, 100%. Because I mean, and just taking care of people, taking care of your staff is huge. Making them feel like stoked to come to work. Yeah, it's gonna be busy and we're gonna be sweating, but like I get to hang out with my friends and I get to be in a place that's vibrant and there's people everywhere from all over the world and it's packed. It's fun, for them. So I think creating that environment and really just taking care of knowing that they are our first priority. We're going to take care of them no matter what is what makes the environment really good.
So creating environment where your employees want to come to work, right?
For sure,
Yeah.
that's big.
Yeah, like having that feeling, like waking up in the morning and being excited to go in. Like
Yeah,
I think that's super important.
for sure. Because nothing's worse than waking up and being like, oh,
Right.
another day, here we go. You know.
Mm,
And I think like, and you probably know this too. Living over here, the pace of life is slower, right? Everything's a bit more relaxed. When someone says I'll be there at a certain time, it's loose. You know, so going back and switching back into that world, flying back to LAX and being going in Los Angeles, it's like immediate different ball game, right? So you get on the 405 and you're like, fuck,
right. Like, how
yeah,
does
it's
it
like
drive this fast?
yeah, it's a different world for sure. And it's cool though. It's cool to see the differences.
Like knowing what you know now through
Hmm.
this experience would have gone any differently, or would you have gone through with it?
Yeah, for sure. It's the best decision I ever made for sure.
Wow.
It's a
Okay.
total life flip for me. And I'm so happy I decided to go down that path. And I could have never have imagined how successful we would be. Um, we just thought like, hey, if we could just make something to where we didn't have to be kicked out after 30 days, that'll be sweet. And so we can stay. But yeah, now like we've grown. We've been super lucky. We've grown a lot. We're gonna open our second shop
Yeah, I
soon
can't wait to
this
see.
summer, which is going to be cool. But yeah, I think the main thing when we were doing it was that we didn't think about it that much. We didn't think like get overwhelmed and bogged down by like, oh man, how are we going to do this? And then what about this? And then how much is that going to cost? And then this, we kind of were just like, all right, let's do it. And each day when something new, we'll face it then. Okay, we got to get this. We got to do this today. We're going to tackle this. Okay. And then tomorrow, shoot, another problem. What are we going to do? So there was a lot of headaches and a lot of ups and downs and a lot of times when we were like, oh shit, like this, what are we going to do? But we didn't tally all that up in the beginning and look at it as a huge chunk and say, oh man, that seems pretty hard. Maybe we shouldn't. We didn't think about it like that. So I think that was a motivation for us to just like, let's do it. Let's go. We just started off to the races.
That's awesome. That's an awesome way to look at it, because if you were to compile everything in the beginning, it would have been probably so daunting to even like to look at,
Mm,
right?
sure. Which
And
is
to break it down like one day at a time, one
right.
problem at a time, made it a lot easier for you guys to digest and address.
For sure, which some say could be naive,
Right. Yeah.
of us. But for us, it worked. It worked to our benefit.
Yeah. So there's not one way to run a business or start a business outside of an industry that you have worked in, outside
Hmm.
of a country that you're familiar
True.
with a new business partner. I mean, some would say that you had a lot going against you, but you
Definitely.
and your business partner were able to make it work. And it seemed, I mean, not without its challenges, but it's just seemed for it to flow.
Absolutely. And I knew Derek for a long time before that, luckily. So we were pretty tight. We went to the same university, we're in the same fraternity.
Okay, cool.
But we were never, before this, we were never like best buddies. You
Mm.
know, we were just, oh, we're friends. And it worked really well because we're complete opposites too. So that we have total opposite personalities. He's like the engineer mind. He's like problem solver, like thinker, and I'm more the designer, the look and feel, and so we complement each other pretty well, I think, which made it work good.
That's awesome. So if there were other people that are considering starting a business, whether it be at home or internationally, and are thinking, like, I have this idea, I'm really pumped about it,
Mhm.
but it just seems like such a daunting project. Like, I don't know if I can do it. Like, what would your advice be?
Couple things would be have a plan, loose plan. Don't like plan every single step, but have a general idea. And I should say a goal. Have a goal that you want to achieve, and then super helpful for us was that we kind of had a mentor. We had somebody who had done it before, Cody in this case, and he was able to like give us the confidence to be like, guys, you can do it. It's just step A first, and then step B, and then and just keep going from there. And so that was a huge part. So that's why when people ask me about how I did stuff or what I'm doing, I'm always happy to give that because somebody gave it to me. So it's important to pass that along, and it's important to, if you're in that situation, looking, wanting to do something, find people who have done it before, or find somebody who at least is in that arena, and ask them questions. And just end of the day, you got to jump yourself, right? So that's the ultimate tip. But have a loose plan, find somebody who can give you guidance, and then jump. That's it, really.
Awesome. Well, that's good advice.
Thank
Right.
you.
Yeah. So
But,
so now you're opening up another Rise and Shine Cafe.
mhm.
And where is it going to be?
So this cafe is in on Boombak in Umalas, which is like about 10-15 minutes from the original location.
Mhm.
Similar in that it's in like it's like a neighborhood cafe, a lot of villas around. There's a few other businesses there, but not many, similar like when we started over here. And yeah, we're excited. We're excited for this one. It's going to be interesting to take the jump now to having a second location.
Yeah.
We already know how to do all these things. Like we have our suppliers, we have our, this, that, whatever. So it's, in one sense, it's a lot of like just plugging things in.
Mhm.
But it's definitely a new arena having two. I never thought this would be like this. It all kind of just happened. So now I'm just running with it and trying to be successful and trying to do good. And yeah, I don't know. It's cool.
This is not in your vision at all. Like, even a few
Wow.
days before making the decision, it was non-existent.
Non-existent. Like we flew here not with no plan to do that at whatsoever, and it just sprouted and then just took off like a vine, like a wild vine. And yeah, now I couldn't picture myself doing anything else.
Yeah.
So it's, sometimes people have like an inkling when they're young, like I've always wanted to be a whatever basketball player or astronaut. This one just came out of nowhere. And
Yeah.
sometimes that happens. It's just like, boom, this is what I'm doing. This is my path. And I love it. And I'm lucky that I just stumbled upon it like that.
Wow. Like, that's incredible, right? For something to just show up. I don't even really know how to advise people to kind of to follow in that path. Like, what would you say?
I would just say that it's important to never think like, because at the time when we first started, I was 27.
Mhm.
I had a good job, but I didn't enjoy it. I was making good money, but I knew that at the time it's not what I want to do for the rest of my life, but I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. So it's just important that people know that it's not like, oh, I'm 28 or I'm 29 or whatever. This, it's too late. I just got to keep doing this thing that dream that I had. Like, nah, I guess not. Like, nah, it can happen anytime, any place. Be ready for an opportunity to arise. I think that's the most important. It can come out of nowhere. So always keep your eyes open and keep your eyes on the prize. Keep going for what you want.
Yeah, you just keep open, right, to the
Mhm.
opportunities that might come your way.
Right.
Yeah.
And don't be discouraged of like, I'm getting older. I should settle down. I should do that. And that's great if that's what you want to do. That's perfect. But don't let things go just because you think you're stuck and it's too hard to get out of it or it's too hard to change it.
Don't settle.
Don't settle.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
So know what you want. Like have a loose plan, right, of what your reality looks like or feels like, and don't
Hmm.
stop until you get it.
Absolutely. For sure. You got to work hard. At the end of the day, it takes hard work, right?
Yeah.
That's what it takes. You got to put the hours in. You got to go for it. But if you find something that you really love and that you're able to cultivate as your own, it doesn't nearly seem like hard work, even though it is. It,
Yeah.
it seems like fun.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to finish off. Like where can we find you? Do you have an Instagram or does Rise and Shine or
Yeah, if you search Rise and Shine Bali, it will come up. You can come check us out. Come on by, have a coffee with me and Liana,
yeah.
and yeah, it'd be cool.
Well, thank you so much for joining. I really appreciate you spending the time today.
It's been a
And
pleasure.
yeah, and I hope that whoever's listening, who's here in Bali, gets a chance to try to visit Rise and Shine 1 or hopefully Rise and Shine 2 very soon. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Liana. Nice to see you.
Yeah.